Imagine a group of teenagers. They are excited, full of energy, and ready for a summer of fun and adventure. They have no idea what awaits them. They are at summer camp, they are alone, the cabins are empty, the grounds eerily quiet. The sense of isolation begins to set in. They think they are safe. They are wrong. As night falls, the atmosphere changes. Every rustle in the bushes, every creak of the floorboard sends shivers down their spines. This is the chilling premise of Friday the 13th from 1980. A film that has become synonymous with horror and suspense. It is a film that terrified audiences and redefined horror. People screamed, covered their eyes, and held their breath as the story unfolded. The film is set at Camp Crystal Lake, a place that looks serene and peaceful by day but transforms into a nightmare as darkness falls. It is a seemingly idyllic summer camp with a dark past. Whispers of tragedy and death linger in the air, adding to the sense of dread. As the counselors prepare for the summer, a mysterious killer stalks them one by one. Who will survive? The tension builds as the body count rises. Friday the 13th is a classic slasher film. It set the standard for the genre with its relentless pace and shocking twists. It relies on suspense, jump scares, and graphic violence. Each scene is crafted to keep the audience on the edge of their seats, never knowing what will happen next. The film's low budget and simple premise belied its massive success. It proved that you don't need a big budget to create a lasting impact. Friday the 13th became a cultural phenomenon, spawning numerous sequels and a loyal fan base. Its legacy continues to influence horror films to this day, reminding us that sometimes the scariest stories are the simplest ones. Friday the 13th introduced the world to Jason Voorhees, a name that would soon become synonymous with horror and fear. He is one of the most recognizable figures in horror cinema, standing tall among other legendary villains like Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers. However, Jason was not the main killer in the first film, a twist that surprised many viewers and added depth to the storyline. That honor goes to his mother, Pamela Voorhees. Portrayed by Betsy Palmer, her performance brought a chilling intensity to the character. Pamela is driven by revenge, her heart filled with rage and sorrow over the loss of her beloved son. Her son Jason drowned at Camp Crystal Lake years earlier, a tragic event that set the stage for the horror that would unfold. She blames the counselors for his death, believing their negligence led to the tragedy. This tragic backstory adds a layer of complexity to the film's villain, making her motivations more understandable, albeit terrifying. Jason would later become the main antagonist in the franchise, evolving into a nearly unstoppable force of nature. His iconic hockey mask and brutal kills terrified audiences for decades, cementing his place in horror history. The Friday the 13th franchise consists of 12 films, a television series, and numerous other media. Novels, comic books, and video games have all expanded the lore of Jason Voorhees, making him a multimedia horror icon. Fans around the world celebrate Jason, dressing up as him at conventions and collecting memorabilia. Behind the scenes, the making of Friday the 13th involved a dedicated team of filmmakers who brought this terrifying vision to life. The impact of Friday the 13th on the horror genre is undeniable, influencing countless films and shaping the way we view horror. From action figures to Halloween costumes, Jason Voorhees remains a staple in horror merchandise. Audiences continue to be captivated by the suspense and terror that Jason brings to the screen. His influence extends beyond horror, appearing in pop culture references and parodies showcasing his lasting legacy. The final scenes of each film often leave viewers on the edge of their seats, eagerly anticipating the next installment. Jason Voorhees, with his menacing presence and relentless pursuit, will forever be an icon of horror. Friday the 13th was filmed on a shoestring budget of $550,000. It was shot in Blairstown, New Jersey, at a real Boy Scout camp called Camp Nobi Bosco. The camp still stands today. Fans of the film can even visit it. The film's special effects were groundbreaking for their time. Tom Savini, a renowned special effects artist, created the film's gruesome death scenes. The film's low budget forced Savini to be creative. He used practical effects to create realistic and terrifying gore. Ari Lehman played Jason Voorhees in the original Friday the 13th. At the time, he was a young actor with limited experience. He was only 13 years old when he took on the role. Lehman brought an eerie physicality to the character. Lehman's performance as Jason is brief but memorable. He appears in the film's final moments, emerging from Crystal Lake to attack the lone survivor. This shocking twist ending left audiences terrified and wanting more. It set the stage for a franchise that would span over 4 decades. Section 5, The Final Girl. Adrienne King played Alice Hardy, the final girl in Friday the 13th. The final girl is a trope in horror films. She is the last character alive to confront the killer. Alice is a resourceful and determined young woman. Alice confronts Pamela Voorhees in a climactic showdown. She manages to defeat her, decapitating her with a machete. The final scene shows Alice drifting on a lake in a canoe. Suddenly, Jason's decomposing body leaps from the water. Alice screams, but is it a dream? Section 6. The Camp That Time Forgot. Camp Crystal Lake is more than just a setting in Friday the 13th. It is a place that has captured the imagination of horror fans for decades. The camp, with its serene lake and dense forest, provides the perfect backdrop for the chilling events that unfold in the film. It is a character itself. The camp sign, the cabins, and the campfire are all iconic images that have become synonymous with the horror genre. These elements contribute to the camp's eerie atmosphere, making it a memorable location for the film's terrifying story. The camp is isolated and eerie. The fog that often hangs over the lake, the dense trees that surround the campgrounds, and the deserted cabins all add to the sense of isolation. This isolation is a key element in creating the film's suspenseful atmosphere. It is a place of both beauty and danger. The camp's natural beauty, with its picturesque lake and lush forest, contrasts sharply with the dark events that take place there. This contrast heightens the sense of dread as the idyllic setting becomes a place of terror. The film's creators used the camp's natural setting to create a sense of dread. By filming in an actual camp, they were able to capture the authentic atmosphere of the location. The natural surroundings, combined with the filmmaker's skillful use of lighting and sound, create a truly unsettling experience for the audience. The camp's isolation adds to the film's suspense. The characters are cut off from the outside world with no way to call for help. This sense of isolation makes the events of the film even more terrifying, as the characters must face the horrors alone. The teenagers are cut off from the outside world. They are there to have fun, to enjoy the beauty of nature, and to bond with each other. But their isolation makes them vulnerable, turning their camping trip into a nightmare. They are easy prey for the killer. The shadowy figure lurking in the trees, the unsuspecting teenagers, and the stalking scenes all contribute to the film's sense of impending doom. The audience knows that danger is lurking, even if the characters do not. The film's creators also use the camp's dark history to foreshadow the horrors to come. The old newspaper clippings, the abandoned buildings, and the eerie campfire stories all hint at the tragic events that have taken place at the camp. This foreshadowing builds tension as the audience anticipates the horrors that are about to unfold. It is a place where tragedy has already struck. The dilapidated buildings, the overgrown paths, and the memorial site all serve as reminders of the camp's dark past. These elements add to the film's atmosphere, creating a sense of foreboding that permeates the entire story. It is about to strike again. The dramatic shots of the knife, the terrified teenager running through the woods, and the tense moments all build to a climax that leaves the audience on the edge of their seats. The camp's dark history and its isolated setting combine to create a truly terrifying experience. Friday the 13th was not the first slasher film. However, it helped popularize the genre. The film's director, Sean S. Cunningham, drew inspiration from earlier horror films. These included Halloween from 1978 and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. Friday the 13th combined elements of these films and added its own unique twist. The film's focus on teenage characters and its setting at a summer camp made it relatable to audiences. It tapped into primal fears of the dark, the woods, and the unknown. Friday the 13th was a massive commercial success. It was made on a budget of $550,000 and grossed over $59.8 million worldwide. It became one of the most profitable horror films of all time. The film's success spawned a franchise that continues to this day. The film's success can be attributed to several factors. These include its effective marketing campaign, its talented cast, and its groundbreaking special effects. However, the film's most enduring legacy is its impact on the horror genre. Friday the 13th had a profound impact on the horror genre. It helped establish many of the tropes that are now synonymous with slasher films. These include the final girl trope, the use of point-of-view shots, and the killer's use of a signature weapon. The film's influence can be seen in countless horror films that followed. It helped to usher in a new era of horror. This era was characterized by its graphic violence, its focus on jump scares, and its often formulaic plots. Friday the 13th is more than just a film, it is a cultural phenomenon. The film's title alone is enough to evoke fear and excitement in equal measure. The date itself, Friday the 13th, has become synonymous with bad luck and superstition. The film's legacy continues to this day. It has inspired countless sequels, remakes, and spin-offs. It has also spawned a vast array of merchandise, including toys, clothing, and video games. Friday the 13th remains a touchstone of popular culture. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.